All right, let's see if we are live. Haven't used Zoom in a while. I believe we are live. Let me know, guys. Let me know how it is going with the live stream before I do stuff like screen share. I'm gonna wait on some confirmation. What a crazy, crazy week. Sound check's good. Thank you, Freddie. Wow, Freddie, you've been watching me a while. Sand Snake as well. Gulag, welcome. I don't know how long you've been watching me, but I recognize some of the other names. All right, so where should we begin? This is going to be more of a Q&A. I am going to keep an eye on the live chat. I'm going to put that right there, right in front of me. Thanks for watching, everyone. So I have been trying to keep up with all of the geopolitical news. I feel like I am up to date. So I am happy to, answer any questions and provide any resources that I follow to keep me up to date. Yeah, it's 720. I only pay Zoom $500 a year. And for only $500 a year, they don't let you stream in 1080 anymore. I refuse to pay Zoom any more money because I barely ever use them. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I haven't, we stream on Restream over on the Financial Summit YouTube channel, but I haven't done that on this channel. I haven't set up this channel with Restream. Okay, I'm just going to go to screen share and we go from there. Okay, just wanted to give you guys an update. In the last time I did the Russia-Ukraine update, since then, I spent a bunch of time and I finally finished the Google document. If you go back to my last live stream on this channel, you can find this. This actually took me a lot of time. And we're going to do another video on Russia-Ukraine, but this document is now like 7 pages longer. I added this massive section 6 that has a lot to do with the Middle East and partially having to do with this conflict with Iran. Real quick, Bitcoin is slowly recovering. As I've said many times, geopolitical uncertainty and crazy situations are not good for Bitcoin and they're not good for the stock market. They crash both. And that's what we saw ever since, Israel started firing on Iran. On the 16th of June, you saw that Bitcoin market completely collapsed, and we fell a lot, mostly because of that strike by Israel on Iran as they were still in the middle of negotiations. Those of you that are interested in my Bitcoin analysis, please follow Financial Summit on YouTube, and we will do a video there tomorrow. Okay, I have a document on, well, this I probably need to delete because it makes no sense. This is my Israel document with all of the relevant resources. I need to update this. You can also check the current video description of this video. So if we go to my YouTube channel, and I'm going to pull some resources from there. If I have my moderators, hey Fish, oh yeah, you're going to join me on the YouTube channel. Great. If any of my moderators are in my Q&A group, Winston, are you in my Q&A group? I don't see you in. Oh yeah, you are. If you see a good question, can you just throw it into the Telegram group chat? So this way, I don't necessarily have to keep an eye on the text, just throw it into the channel. Okay, man, where do we even begin? Let me let's just go through. You know what? I'm gonna start with some of my resources. I got a new resource as of today. As of today, I am now following Richard Medhurst. He is British, and he did an excellent video that caught my attention. This one right here. I'm gonna click on it in a second to show you guys. And because of that video, I watched his other two videos. One came out right before I went live, and one more came out about a day ago. And I really like this video because he went through every part of the JCPOA. For those that aren't familiar, didn't I just turn that off? Oh, I guess he has it internally. JCPOA was a deal to prevent Iran from having enriched uranium beyond 3.5%. So 3.5% is barely usable for commercial uses of nuclear energy. And Trump left the JCPOA, which kept Iran at that 3.5% level. And he goes through the entire timeline every single month, how it all escalated. And this was a great video because he shows you what US did, what Iran did every single month leading up to now. And so this is why, and he explains why Iran raised it to 4.5%, and then eventually 20%, and then eventually 60%. So I strongly recommend this video. It is linked in my video description, and it talks about how this whole situation escalated due to the stupidity of Trump leaving the JCPOA. It is not something I commented on back then, because back then, back in 2018, I wasn't really paying attention to the Middle East. And when I was paying attention to the Middle East, I sure as hell wasn't talking about it on YouTube. So I wasn't paying attention to it to the same extent. And I also never wanted to talk about Israel on this channel ever. But after what's been happening in Gaza, I decided to, speak my mind. Anyway, so that's a great resource. It is now linked in my video description. Now, I want to point to this video, and it also came out yesterday by Amit Sengupta. I really like Amit Sengupta. In some of his videos, he's been very biased, which bothers me a little bit. And in case anyone's wondering, he is pro-Israel biased. Okay, so I do watch some channels that are pro-Israel biased. He is pro-Israel biased in his coverage of the Middle East, but I still really like his content. And he did a really good video right here, being very specific about the attack that the United States did on Iran. Let me be clear once again. This was an attack by the United States on Iran, a completely unprovoked attack, because Iran is not a threat to the United States in any way. And even if you believe that Iran has a nuclear missile, which they don't, but even if they did, and by the way, there are some rumors now that there was a 5.5 magnitude quake in this region, and I don't believe it was because the United States bombed the region. I don't think it aligned with that. So there are rumors now that Iran has tested a nuclear weapon underground. Just a rumor. I'm not saying it's true, and but I still believe that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon and was not working on one. But I believe they are now. So I don't think they would have been able to put one together in 2 weeks, but anything is possible, right? But I just don't think so. I'll give you my viewpoint on it later on. Hopefully I don't forget on that. So Amit did a good video just talking about the facilities the United States bombed these three facilities: Isfahan, Natanz, and Fordo. Now, Fordo was the big bombing, okay, and he goes through it. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay, and hold on one second, guys. I actually can't wait to get the hell out of Northeast United States, because whenever I'm in the Northeast United States, my allergies are just killing me. When I'm in different parts of the United States, it's better. And when I'm outside of the United States, it's significantly better. I guess I'm allergic to the US. So these were the three facilities. Now, all of these facilities were pretty much evacuated. So no people actually got killed in this airstrike. So Iran saw this coming, or the United States. I don't think they warned them. But once again, the problem is that the United States allowed Israel to bomb Iran while they were in the middle of a negotiation. This is very, very bad looking for the United States. Why would anyone trust the United States? Then, just yesterday or 2 days ago, Trump comes out and says that he's going to think over the next 2 weeks whether the United States should attack Iran. And then the next day, he attacks Iran. So basically, Trump is proving that the United States cannot be trusted in any negotiation. Also, this isn't a negotiation. This is like bringing someone is sitting across from you at the table, you're holding a gun to their head and saying, yeah, you're voluntarily going to sign this document. But if you don't, what do you think I'm holding in my hand, right? This is the United States version of a negotiation. So this is the facility. This is Fordo, nuclear facility. And the according to Trump, this facility has been destroyed. The consensus on the situation seems to be that the United States has damaged 2 of the 5 entrances to the facility. These views cannot be any more, on different sides of the spectrum. All right. I think the truth is a little closer to they damaged the entrances than the fact that they damaged the entire facility. Now, in order to destroy this facility or to bomb this facility, this is what they used. And in this video by Amit, he even talks about the path that they took. I'm not going to play the whole video. Maybe I'll play the video, but I'm not going to play the audio. And I'm going to speed up the video, and then I'll just, comment over it a little bit. So this is the bunker buster bomb, and it is launched by a B-2, which is a U.S. stealth bomber. And this massive bomb, it's like, 30 tons. And the bomb is supposed to pick up enough momentum to penetrate like 60 or 90 meters into the concrete or into the mountaintop. So the bomb would penetrate. The bomb would penetrate up to 60 meters, which is over 100 feet, basically, into solid rock or concrete. And then after it, because it generates enough momentum with gravity falling down, and then after it has penetrated 100 meters down, then it explodes. Okay, that is basically the plan. And there's absolutely no proof that this facility has been destroyed, by the way, none whatsoever, 0. And I was surprised that the path that they took was over the Pacific Ocean to get there. And apparently they did not stop these planes anywhere. landing and for one of these planes to land and take off, that's a whole endeavor in its own. So they were refueling them while they were flying. And there would have been two paths as to, oh no, this is also an important point. There would have been two paths as to how these planes would have entered the Iranian airspace, either through Pakistan, which is a borderline U.S. proxy, and or over the Gulf of Oman and the Persian Gulf, basically going over the Strait of Hormuz and into Iranian airspace. Now, 4 or 5 days earlier, Israel took out the Iranian air defenses. Of course, the Iranian air defenses would have had trouble taking these planes down anyway because they're pretty advanced and they are pretty stealth. Felipe Porto, you are correct. I haven't gotten to that part yet. Anyway, now let's talk about Pakistan. Let's finish on the potential of the bomb actually doing damage. Let's go back to the picture of the facility. Okay, so in theory, if this bomb is dropped from a proper height onto a flat concrete surface or a rocky surface, then yes, it in theory it's a 13,000 kilogram bomb, which is insane. Okay, in theory, it can penetrate that deep. When you have a slanted, ruggedy mountainside, it is completely untested on this type of terrain in Iran. So I find it very hard to believe that this bomb would have penetrated 60 meters down and then explode. Okay, so I am a bit skeptical on this. So in my opinion, this facility was not destroyed. Okay, now, even if this facility was destroyed, it's very likely that not much was there to be destroyed. Okay. Winston is saying that the Pacific flights were decoys, or maybe somebody else said that. It's possible, right? But that it doesn't matter. That part doesn't really matter. The point is, did the United States destroy Iran's nuclear facility? It is very, very unlikely. Now, there are multiple problems with destroying Iran's nuclear facility. First of all, nobody knows what is actually going on down there. Nobody knows really how deep it is. It could have been significantly deeper. Iran could have other facilities inside mountains, and no one really knows where the main research on their nuclear facility takes place. Okay. Now, let me go back to my notes. I have notes. Everything I wanted to talk about. Israel strikes. Right. So I thought that the Israeli strikes on Iran to take out Iran's what do you call them? Iran's missiles, Iran defenses. I thought that strike was ill-advised and very, very bad for Israel. And I'm going to talk about this in a little bit more detail. Immediately after that happened, Trump took a shit ton of credit, saying that he knew all about it. And then when Trump realized that they only took out Iran's defense capability, and by the way, the only reason why they were able to take out Iran's defense capability is because it was pretty infiltrated, similar to how Russia was infiltrated with that drone attack on their nuclear deterrent of the bombers. And look, the Mossad is well-financed, and they can do a lot of damage, and they did. But what is being underreported is the damage that Iran is now doing to Israel by bombing the shit out of Israel these days. And Israel really needs the US to come and help. Now, here are the 3 points that I was arguing. So I got into a furious argument with a relative on I got into a big argument with a relative that this was a bad idea, right? So let's just say I have very pro-Israel relatives. Thank God no one watches my YouTube channel. And here's the position that I took, and this position was unreasonable, completely unreasonable. So the position that the average person takes is that Israel has the right to defend itself, even if it's shooting a baby in the head, doesn't matter, right? Israel has the right to defend itself because that baby is going to turn out to be a terrorist, right? That is the general position. So Israel has exercised the right to defend itself by attacking Iran while they're in the middle of a peace negotiation with the U.S. Because Israel is defending itself from Iran, who was supposed to have a nuke, who were two weeks away from having a nuke 20 years ago to bomb Israel. Even though the second biggest Jewish community in all of the Middle East happens to be in Iran, but that the facts don't matter. Like Israel has the right to defend itself. So my position was this. The attack by Israel on Iran is bad for 3 reasons. Reason number 1, I'll number them. Reason number 1 is that it will not bring regime change, which is the goal. The goal is regime change. It will not bring regime change. I can't spell. I'll just say it. How do you spell regime? Hey, Bernoulli, you know how to spell. How do you spell regime?
Oh, you assume I know how to spell. I think it's R-E-G-I-M-E.
Thank you. Regime change will fail. It'll absolutely fail, right? The assumption is, let's kill a bunch of Iranian civilians, and then whichever civilians are left alive will then overthrow the government and put a U.S. puppet in their place. This has never worked, not once in history, ever. And yet, that continues to be the plan, okay? So my view was that it is very likely that this attack by Israel will harden the Iranian view that they need a nuclear weapon to actually defend themselves for real, okay? So my view was this is ill-advised because while Iran was not working on a nuclear weapon before, and I didn't think they were, they sure as hell will now, okay? That was my reason number 1 for this being a bad idea. I might have had already 2 reasons in there for this, okay? So one, reason number 2 was that Iran will now attack, and by the way, this argument was taking place in real time. Iran will now attack Israel back. And it'll be bad for Israel, okay? And again, point number 2 was completely ignored because the assumption on June 16th was that we have toppled Iran and they do not have any ability to fire back at us. And if they do fire back, we have the defenses to prevent it, which has been proven wrong And in the last 5 days, there has been massive devastation in Israel. Okay. That was my point number 2. And I got to go to my off-topic group chat. And God knows how far away that is to remember, because I posted in that group like pretty much in real time. And I'm trying to get to my point number 3 here somewhere. Or was it? Oh, okay. All right. Let me read it. Point number 1. It might lead to Iran actually taking a harder stance against Israel and fire first for the first time in history. I think this expectation that the strike will lead to pro-West regime change will backfire. That was my reason number 1. Reason number 2 was, okay. Okay, so here's the third reason. So Iran will strike back at Israel. There's not going to be a regime change. They're not going to get their puppet. And now Iran's going to work on nuclear missile. And point number 3 was that Iran is very likely or will block will block all oil pretty much. If Iran is losing, they already said they will destroy all infrastructure in the region. Iran will attack the UAE's oil infrastructure. They'll attack Saudi's oil infrastructure. They will block is it Malacca Straits or the Straits of Hormuz? They will block any oil leaving that region. And we're going to go to our Google map in a minute anyway. Where am I here? So Iran will block the Strait of Hormuz to allow any oil that is leaving Iraq, leaving Kuwait, or leaving Qatar, or leaving the UAE. They will not allow any oil to go through here. Okay. And worst case scenario, they're actually going to start bombing all oil infrastructure in the region. I don't know if Yemen has any oil infrastructure. Yemen is, they're not going to bomb Yemen, but any other country, right? Because these other Arab countries, they're not standing with Iran. And that's because most of them have US proxies as their leaders. Saudi Arabia is kind of neutral, and the UAE tries to be neutral. And Saudi is somewhat neutral, but still they have not, they have barely done anything to support the Palestinians. And Iran is not happy with that. Even though Iran is now on good relations with Saudi, they don't really want to endanger their relations with Saudi. But if Iran is going down, they're not going to care if they're going to ruin their relations with Saudi. They will destroy Saudi oil infrastructure because if they're not going to go down without a fight, and a part of their deterrent, since they don't have a nuclear deterrent, their deterrent is to spike the price of oil to $1,000 a barrel. And my third reason as to why Israel attacking Iran is a bad idea is because we're here in the United States, and I personally don't want to see $10 to $20 per gallon oil price. Okay. Iran has S-300 air defense. Yes, they do. But some of it was attacked on the 16th, not by air attack, but by local drone attack, because Iran was pretty infiltrated. And Iran actually has S-400 as well. Let me go back to my notes. So this is why Israel attacking Iran was a really, really dumb move, a very dumb move. Iran has now retaliated, and because Israel started crying to the U.S. the United States has, fired at Iran, something that personally I think is completely unconstitutional. And I've been saying for the last several months that Trump has been a disastrous president. And this is another reason why he has been a disastrous president. Bernoulli, you want to say anything? Are there any questions in the live chat you want to ask me before we move on to talk a little bit about Pakistan? And then the real discussion is this. I'm going to put up a poll right now before you say anything. I did this poll before. Who is the proxy? Hold on. Does USA control Israel like they do Ukraine? Well, they don't really control Ukraine, but is Israel more like Ukraine? Does US control Israel? Similar to Ukraine? US. Oh, wow. I can only have like 8 letters in there. Okay, never mind. Does US control Israel? Or does Israel control US? All right. I'm just going to put those 2 options. I'm not going to put a third. Just those 2. Who is the proxy? Let's see what you guys say. Okay. This is a very, very... I did this poll before, and it was almost 50-50 before. Let's see what it is now. All right. Bernoulli, any comment, anything to say?
There were a couple comments and questions in the chat I was trying to grab. This is true. Crypto Liberty mentioned, did you know the new Syrian president is an ex-Al-Qaeda senior official? And Israel has been saying they're on the verge of having a nuclear weapon since 1982. I assume they're referring to Israel speaking on Iran. But the first part of that, the new Syrian president is pretty interesting.
I think everyone should know by now that the Syrian president is former top general in Al-Qaeda that used to go around, chopping people's heads off and hands and whatever. Lately, he's only been doing it to Christians, so I guess that's okay. But yes, I think everyone, if someone doesn't know that, they're in a different world, or they're only watch US propaganda, basically. Everyone should know that by now, that the president of Syria, or I don't know how much power he has. Mostly he's being supported by, he's obviously being supported by Israel and Turkey. But yeah, well, let's see how long that relationship lasts. So that's an obvious one. The fact that the Syrian president is former head of Al-Qaeda, not head, but a top general in Al-Qaeda. The more confusing part for people to believe is that Al-Qaeda is the creation of the US military. So Al-Qaeda is an extension of the US military, just like ISIS. They are both creation of US and Israeli militaries. They were created by America and Israel to create division in the Middle East. They are that's what these organizations are. That's the harder one to to convince people that they've been brainwashed to believing that something like Al-Qaeda is, naturally occurring, extreme Islamist, terrorists, when in reality, it's bred and created by the CIA and US and Mossad. Al-Qaeda, ISIS, ISIL, most of them are. The roots go back to US military. Anything else?
Yeah, the people in the chat were mentioning that there was a pretty bad echo. I could hear it too, but I'm not hearing it now. Yeah, my mom was in the chat asking how would blocking the Straits of Hormuz affect the oil supply to China?
It will affect the oil supply to China, but uh, Iran only provides between 10 and 20% of oil that actually goes to China. So China is not going to be, they'll be affected, but not to the degree that people think. China gets most of its energy resources from Russia, and it doesn't go through that.
Interesting. And Alexander Petrov asked, why does Iran need nuclear power when they have more gasoline than water?
So that's a good question. Okay, one more thing on China. Obviously, Iran will be able to, their oil will be able to get out as long as they can defend it, right? And see, India is a big player in this, right? So Iran will obviously block any oil that isn't going to their partners, and their partners are BRIC members, right? So, but Russia doesn't need any oil from Iran; they have plenty of their own. But India is a big player because, I mean, India is the second biggest population, if not the biggest. I'm not sure what the population stats are. Is it China or India? Eventually, India will be the biggest population, and India needs oil too. In fact, the way Russia gets its oil to Europe is Russian oil goes to India. India refines that oil and maybe mixes it. It's like 99% Russian oil and 1% something else. And now it is no longer Russian oil, and now they can sell it with a premium to Europe. So that's how Europe got rid of itself from Russian oil. They just have to buy it from India now. And yeah, so China will still get Iranian oil as long as Iran exists as a country. So China is definitely supporting Iran not to go the way of Syria, right? That's the goal. The goal of the U.S. is to take out Iran the way they took out Syria, the way they took out Iraq, the way they took out Libya, all of them, right? Because the way U.S. took out Egypt, they can't do in Iran, right? The way they took out Egypt was to overthrow Mubarak and install a U.S. puppet. And they've had a U.S. puppet in charge of Egypt since the Arab Spring back in like 2012, 2013. By the way, I talk about this in that document I wrote on Russia. This is section 6. I strongly recommend everyone reads it because it does apply. I don't mention Iran in here, but this section 6 turned out to be my longest section. And as I did more and more research a few weeks ago, even I was fascinated by everything I found. What's been happening in the Middle East since the discovery of the Leviathan gas field off the coast of Israel and Gaza. Right here, the Levant Basin, this dark patch right here is the Leviathan gas field. And this has been this has probably been the biggest driver of everything that's happened in the Middle East since the discovery of this field around 2009 or 10. So it was officially announced in 2010 that the field has been discovered. I believe that it was discovered earlier than that, but it was announced in 2010 that it was discovered. And I think everything that's happened since 2010, since the moment it was announced, everything since that day led to full destruction of the Middle East. Plus, Ukraine is a big player in this as well, and I describe it all in my document on Russia-Ukraine. It is not linked in this particular video, but it's linked in the last live stream I did, which was about Russia-Ukraine. Sorry, I kind of deviated from my point a bit. What else did you want to ask me besides the China thing?
Oh, someone asked why does Iran need nuclear power if they've got
Right.
more gasoline than oil?
So that's a great question. Look, as you guys know, as I've stated many times on this channel, nuclear energy is very, very good energy. It is, especially with modern technology, nuclear energy is great. I am still anti-nuclear energy because of what is happening right now. I am anti-nuclear energy because people are stupid and they attack each other's nuclear reactors and all this other stuff, right? So I am against nuclear energy, not because I don't like it as energy, but because I don't trust the human population of managing it. That's the reason why I'm against it. So there are applications of nuclear other than just energy. One of them is medical. Remember, Iran is a big country. Iran is a country of over 90 million people. It's amazing that the senator that's trying to start a war with Iran doesn't know how many people are in Iran. You would think he would. That would be Senator Ted Cruz from his recent interview on Tucker. I haven't seen that interview yet. I just saw some highlights. But also, this is why I mentioned that other video earlier, where Iran was perfectly happy with 3.5% enrichment. But they want to get closer to a higher one because they were using it as leverage. Iran was enriching further, using it as leverage to bring the United States back to a deal because Iran wants its sanctions lifted. And the closer, and that's what Iran was thinking. We can debate whether that was smart or stupid, but Iran now has itself in this predicament where they're potentially at war with the US because they enriched up to 60%. And the whole time they were enriching up to 60% from 2018 up until recently, they were always willing to go back down to 3.5% if the sanctions on their, especially their banking system and their trade with the rest of the world was to be lifted. That's what Iran wanted. Iran wanted the sanctions lifted in exchange for only enriching 3.5%, which is nothing because you got to get to 100% to get a nuke. And the US wasn't interested in doing that. And now that they were at 60%, the United States didn't like it. But nuclear energy is very, very useful when you don't screw up, like in Chernobyl, and when your friends or enemies don't attack your nuclear reactors, basically. Okay, anything else?
I think that's it for now.
All right, cool. So let me go back to my notes, a few other comments. So Pakistan is very, very interesting, okay? So Pakistan is a weird geopolitical place, okay? Pakistan and India had their huge conflict recently, and they've been in conflict for a while. Now, Pakistan almost had a president or prime minister or whoever is in charge, Imran Khan, that I think would have been an incredible leader, but United States were not going to allow that, okay? The other day, the head of the Pakistani military was in the White House with Trump. Now, India is very unhappy that Pakistan has nuclear weapons. China supports Pakistan. Again, for videos on this, and these videos are biased because I think he does great work, Amit Sengupta. He did a lot of videos recently on the conflict between Pakistan and India. Now, he is Indian, so he is pretty anti-Pakistan. But he does a great job talking about it. If you can see through people's biases, some people can put out great content, okay? Even though they can be a little biased. And the thing is, Pakistan has said that if Israel bombs nukes Iran, they would retaliate against Israel. And yet, the head of Pakistan, and the real leader in Pakistan is the head of the military. It's not whoever the president is. Whoever the president is in Pakistan is completely irrelevant. It's a military dictatorship there, right? And that leader was in Washington, in the White House. So why is that? Well, because at the end of the day, the United States uses Pakistan for whatever they need. And as you guys know, Osama bin Laden was hiding in Pakistan, and there was no harm came to Pakistan for hiding Osama bin Laden on their soil, because the United States needs Pakistan in order to attack Iran. So I don't know what Pakistan, it's just words, right? Like Pakistan is saying that they may give a nuke to Turkey, as if Turkey can't develop their own nuclear missile if they wanted to. But Pakistan, just like Turkey, mostly just talks, okay? They'll attack, India and stuff, right? But I don't believe that Pakistan is going to come to the defense of Iran. And I don't believe that Pakistan is going to come to the defense of the Palestinians, or that they're going to, do anything anti-Israel, because the general of the Pakistani army shows up in the White House and probably leaves with $1 billion in cash in order, not to do anything. Very similar to Jordan and very similar to Egypt. Okay, the heads of these countries are basically controlled by the United States, and that's why Jordan shoots down any missiles that fly from Iran to Israel if Jordan is able to shoot them down. Okay, now Jordan has to be careful. A large part of their population is Palestinian, and sooner or later there will probably be an uprising in Jordan, and the leader will be overthrown, and it's going to be a more pro-Palestinian state. And Egypt needs to watch out for the same thing. And Egypt has been an absolute shit show since the Mubarak. So I'm not saying it wasn't a shit show during Mubarak, but I went to Egypt in 2018, and I gotta say, it's one of the few countries I have zero desire to ever go back to for any reason. Okay.
I've heard that from more than one person.
Right. It's such a dysfunctional shit show. I don't even know where to begin. The history is amazing, but man, it is hard to get around. Don't talk to anyone. It will just drive you nuts. Okay. Other points I wanted to mention. So I don't trust in Pakistan, right? Anyone that thinks that Pakistan is gonna help in Iran in any way, shape, or form, I think they're misguided. I don't think I think Pakistan just talks, just like Turkey just talks. Turkey's not going to do anything against Israel, and neither is Pakistan. I do think that Iran has been unreasonably reasonable in trying to de-escalate this entire situation, but that's not how Israel sees it, and here we are. Everyone keeps saying how Iran, finances all of these proxies like Hezbollah and Hamas, and that everything, like, again, this is the Israeli talking point, that Iran is the head of the snake, and all we have to do is get rid of Iran, and everything is going to be great. I don't believe that, and I don't see that happening. Okay. All right, I already talked about the 3 points above. Let's get rid of that. Oh yeah, Tulsi Gabbard. So remember when I did that video talking about giving Trump like a C- or a B+ on all the people that he, let me open that picture. I did a video before or right after Trump got elected about his cabinet. Let me see if I still have that. Let me see if I have that. Here it is. Here's a picture. This picture. I think that's the full picture. I think I only talked about these people. And I went through a bunch of them, who I liked, who I didn't like. I actually liked Tulsi Gabbard. I think she. I am now. I am now willing to admit that I was wrong. I was wrong about Tulsi Gabbard being, anti-war. She's not. I don't believe she is. I got that one wrong. I still think RFK was a good candidate. I pretty much talked shit about almost everyone else. Vivek never joined the administration. He was smart enough to get the fuck out. Elon Musk is now out. That's a whole video of its own. And it's been a total shit show. Who else was it that Ratcliffe, total shit show. Kristi Noem, terrible choice. Pete Hegseth, this was one of my biggest issues. I couldn't talk more shit about him, and I'm unhappy to say it's been worse than I expected. Marco Rubio has been exactly as I expected. But Pete Hegseth turned out to be worse than I expected, which was saying something. And I know everyone is Kash Patel hasn't done shit, and again, totally useless. Maybe better than someone else that could have been in his job, but he has been also hasn't done anything useful at all. And who was the other guy? The one that everyone was happy about? The guy that's deporting all the illegals now. Forgot his name already. But the borders are. So look, Trump clearly closed the border, and everyone is saying, that what a great accomplishment that is. And my answer to that is I think it was Chris Rock that had a whole skit. I'm not giving Trump credit for enforcing the law and doing what he's supposed to do, right? Like, I'm not giving Trump credit for closing the border. Like, the border should have never been open, okay? Well, Matt Gaetz now has no job at all. So a great job by Trump by removing Matt Gaetz from being a congressman. And now he's just, he was a pretty damn good congressman. Used to love listening to him grill politicians and government employees and stuff. But Trump did a huge disservice by removing him from the government at all. So that was stupid. But yeah, I'm not giving Trump credit for closing the border, right? Should have never been opened like that to begin with. So that's it. So that's probably the only good thing that Trump has done. And I'm not even going to give him credit for that, because something that he shouldn't even had to do, right? So we'll leave it there. Nancy Mace, I don't know. I go back and forth on Nancy Mace. She's okay. She's very Zionist, very, very Zionist. Anyway, I have a few more points. So, hey, the Tulsi Gabbard thing, this is interesting, right? I know Judge Napolitano plays it. Oh yeah, we got to get to Brian Berletic. Let me play the Judge Napolitano clip. McGregor had a great comment on this, by the way. Let me find it real quick. Let me see if here it is. Is that it? Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. It wasn't McGregor. It was Larry Wilkin, this guy, Wilkerson. I gotta say, I like Lawrence Wilkerson, but man, is he brainwashed on climate change? Holy shit! Like everyone's got something, right? Everyone is like they have their expertise and they're right in certain ways, and then there are other topics, and he thinks we're all gonna die from climate change like next year, right? And that is insane. Trying to get the Tulsi clip. Yeah, here it is. No, that's the Benjamin Netanyahu. Man, I wasn't really prepped for this. Maybe it's further back. I don't know. I do want to play the clip. Anyway, but you guys all know, you guys have all seen it. You know, Trump on the airplane saying, "I don't care what Tulsi Gabbard said." I mean, I still think Tulsi Gabbard hasn't done anything, but maybe it's because Trump doesn't listen. But I will give her one slight thing on defense, right? So Tulsi Gabbard is the head of national intelligence. I don't believe the Senate should be able to bring her to testimony on current situation. So the argument is this. When Tulsi Gabbard, like a month ago or something, was in front of the Senate, where she has to tell the truth under perjury, and they're asking her sensitive questions, for national defense purposes, she may not be able to tell the truth. And back when I used to run the law show, there were certain things I wasn't able to bring up to the lawyers when we were having a discussion. Because even a comment like no comment is a comment. So here's what I mean. When Tulsi Gabbard was asked, do you think does Iran have a nuclear weapon, right? It's possible Iran may have a nuclear weapon, but she may not be able to answer that Iran has a nuclear weapon. She may not be able to answer it for multiple reasons. One of those reasons is she doesn't want Iran to know that she knows that Iran has a nuclear weapon. Second, there could be a mission to take out this weapon immediately. That could be the reason why she doesn't want them to know. Second, she may not want to scare the American public that the United States has allowed Iran to get a nuclear weapon, right? So there are multiple reasons as to why it's possible Iran is or was 2 weeks away from having it, and she is testifying in front of the committee that they are not, okay? Because she has to for national defense purposes. Because if her answer is, I can't comment on the situation, would be implying that they're 2 weeks away from having it. What do you think of this, Bernoulli? You're muted.
I missed a little bit of that, but it's kind of wild. I had kind of lost the idea that they might ever actually attack Iran, because they've literally been saying that they were about to have nuclear weapons for like 25 years.
Correct. But now now they've enriched up to 60%, right? So before it was just 3.5. That's a big difference. Okay. And but in any case, so everyone is making a massive deal over Trump saying, I don't care what Tulsi Gabbard thinks, even though she shouldn't be thinking anything. She should be just compiling, evidence and presenting it to Trump. While like her opinion is technically should be irrelevant. She is there to compile the information and provide Trump with all the necessary information to make the decisions. Okay, but Tulsi Gabbard should not be, sitting there in Congress telling the truth. The same thing actually goes for Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, or CIA. I mean, you can't have these people being asked questions in real time about their job that relate to other countries, because it could potentially endanger the US, right? In theory. Now, after they're done with their job, yes, that's a different story, right? But in real time, I mean, the transparency of the US is, good, but it can also be bad. And this is one of those situations. I don't know what the audience thinks about that statement, but in any case, basically every single person that Trump has in his cabinet is pro-war, and we're witnessing the current situation. Either they're pro-war or they're yes man or women, doesn't matter. So no one here is actually no one here is defending the Constitution. Let me just phrase it that way. No one in Trump's administration gives a shit about the Constitution. They don't. If they did, they probably wouldn't be in this position. All right, where is my live chat? Okay, anything good in the live chat?
Yeah, Winston grabbed a few questions.
Oh, I see them. Okay. Yeah, no, if you can read them out, if they're good, that'd be better.
Yeah, so the first person here directly addressed you and said, if you haven't already, read 2009, Which Path to Persia? Options for a New American Strategy Toward Iran. Chapter 5 is currently in play.
Well, it was a tab here the whole time. I've been trying to get to it, but I've already spent an hour yapping. But so have I read it? No, I'm not capable of reading 170-page documents. But I am very familiar with this document because Brian Berletic talks about this document all the time. So this is what I did want to bring up to close out the show. So thank you for bringing that. So before I talk about that document, anything else that's interesting?
Someone was asking about Turkey interfering, and it wasn't exactly clear if he was responding to something you said, but I know that I don't really know Turkey's position on any of this.
No one knows Turkey's position on any of this. Turkey yaps and doesn't do anything, right? So it's hard to explain Turkey. It's Erdogan tries to get the best deal for himself from all sides involved. I don't think Turkey is going to do anything. But Turkey wants all of Syria, and Israel wants a piece of Syria, and it's possible that Israel and Turkey will clash over Syria if Israel gets out of this current mess. So this is Brian Berletic's video. It's a great video. It's a year old now. It is referenced in my video description. The 2009 U.S. policy paper that laid out the future for Israel-Iran war. This is that paper. It's called Which Path to Persia? And if you look at the table of contents, we get to it. Chapter here. So there was interesting stuff, I think, on page 52. And then chapter 5. So this was written in 2009, and chapter 5 is titled Leave It to Bibi. Basically, let Bibi Netanyahu attack Iran, basically on the US behalf. So Brian Berletic has been trying to explain, and I am starting to completely agree with his view. Oh, how's the poll doing, by the way?
Looks like it's 28% USA controls Israel and 72% Israel controls the USA.
Right. So Brian Berletic has been arguing this for over a decade now, that US 100% controls Israel. And Israel is nothing more than an American proxy. And everything that Israel does is because Iran, is because US put them up to it. No, I mean, a little different, but not much different than Ukraine, okay? I guess the only difference is that like half of the Israelis are also US citizens. But in this case, basically, this is an American plan to destroy Iran, and Israel is just their proxy to do it. And one of his biggest reasons right now is very, very simple. If America was a proxy of Israel, then it would be America attacking Iran and America getting bombed back and not Israel. So his view is that Israel is just doing what US has told them to do, and everything and all of this stuff like, oh, Israel just attacked them on their own, we didn't know anything about it. His view has always been that it's bullshit. This is not his recent view. This has been his view for a long, long time. And he likes to quote page 52, I think, right here. Let me see if I can just zoom this out, and I'll have an e-reader read this to you. I can't do it. I have to put it in a document. Shoot, maybe I can do it. I'm gonna try and take a screenshot and do it, but so it's this section. I can see if my e-reader works here. Let me do this. I'm not sure why there's a space there. And I'll do this.
www. For those who favor regime change.
Hold on, I gotta do two things here. First off, I gotta bring the volume in. I also want to watch the NBA finals, so I'm not gonna be doing it. I got like 5-10 more minutes. Wait. Here, I did that. I gotta lower the speed. 1.2 is good.
Or a military attack on Iran, either by the United States or Israel, there's a strong argument to be made for trying this option first. For those who favor regime change or a military attack on Iran, either by the United States or Israel, there's a strong argument to be made for trying this option first.
Hold on. Maybe I can do it this way.
Drink your problems away. For those who favor regime change or a military attack on Iran, either by the United States or Israel, there's a strong argument to be made for trying this option first. Inciting regime change in Iran would be greatly assisted by convincing the Iranian people that their government is so ideologically blinkered that it refuses to do what is best for the people and instead clings to a policy that could only bring ruin on the country. The ideal scenario in this case would be that the United States and the international community present a package of positive inducements so enticing that the Iranian citizenry would support the deal, only to have the regime reject it. In a similar vein, any military operation against Iran will likely be very unpopular around the world and require the proper international context, both to ensure the logistical support the operation would require and to minimize the blowback from it. The best way to minimize international opprobrium and maximize support, however grudging or covert, is to strike only when there is a widespread conviction that the Iranians were given but then rejected a superb offer, one so good that only a regime determined to acquire nuclear weapons and acquire them for the wrong reasons would turn it down. Under those circumstances, the United States or Israel could portray its operations as taken in sorrow, not anger, and at least some in the international community would conclude that the Iranians brought it on themselves by refusing a very good deal. Drink your...
Okay, so there you go. Written in 2009 that Iran would be given a deal that purposely Iran would not be able to accept, but it would be offered in such a way to make it look like they're the bad guys and only a regime trying to get a nuclear weapon would reject it. And only under that scenario would an attack on Iran would be possible, because otherwise it's an unprovoked attack. So it's all explained. Like, this is the document. This is a long document. And then I think it's page 72 that's the Leave It to Bibi section. Somewhere in here. All right, that's chapter 3. So it's chapter 5. Chapter 4. And here is chapter 5. Eventually. Yeah, Leave It to Bibi, right? So this section explains that they're going to attack them for us. So this paper basically lays out the American plan to, destroy Iran. And many of the things in this plan are being implemented right now. There is a similar paper about Russia, which is even more fortune-telling because each part is completely playing out. So I strongly recommend Brian Politic's videos on this. And he's been making this argument that Israel is just a U.S. proxy, but the United States has done a great job by making everyone brainwashed that Israel actually controls U.S. when in reality it's the other way around. Okay, so all of these links are linked in the video description. He did a good video this morning as well. I recommend you guys watch it. It was on his live tab. YouTube now separates live and videos right here. That was a pretty good one from 9 hours ago. I have already watched it. The Duran has had pretty good coverage. I'm pretty much up to date on all of this. And check out the links in the video description. The one thing we didn't talk about is what happens next. And honestly, I don't know. I think Iran will not attack American assets in the Middle East. I don't think Iran wants a full military conflict with the US. I think the damage to Iranian facilities are actually minimal. I think Iran is causing massive damage in Israel, and not only from their missiles, but also from the brain drain that is now leaving Israel. I think Iran will continue their war of attrition against Israel, putting all the pressure on the Trump and America to go to war with Iran, which 90% of Americans don't want. So this becomes very, very tricky for America. How do you keep bombing Iran without a declaration of war and without Iran doing anything to America, only to Israel? And so far, Iran has only retaliated. They have not initiated anything against Israel, only in retaliation. So we'll see. I think Russia and China will continue to support Iran, but not with troops on the ground, only with weapons and with other forms of aid. All right, final comments, questions?
I had one of my own and I totally forgot it now, but
Well, Florin Pica is asking a rhetorical question. Which nuclear-capable country is a non-signatory to the Non-Proliferation Treaty? It's obviously Israel, right?
Right,
But Israel has never publicly acknowledged that they have nuclear weapons, and no one officially has acknowledged it, but everyone knows they have it, right? And because they've never acknowledged it, Israel is the only country that has the ability to use them offensively. Every other country has said we will only use them defensively. I'm not sure U.S. says that either anymore, so who the fuck knows? I think U.S. is very close to shooting a nuke at Iran to try to destroy their potential nuclear capabilities. Thoughts on Vance? I'm going to reserve my thoughts on Vance for a while. I think Vance is still a good VP, but I wish he'd do more. Well, right. Well, yeah, I mentioned Pakistan and China. China supports Pakistan, yes. But that's because China and India haven't settled their disputes. Libya's Gaddafi relinquished nuclear capabilities. Yeah, look what happened to him. All right, guys, I'm going to go watch the NBA Finals. I'm rooting for Indiana. And let's see how that goes. It's, according to my phone, it's 16-16. Let me turn my camera on. My camera's been off. All right, guys. Please check out the links in the video description. Oh. Let me stop the screen share. I've put all the resources there. There was also another document from the RAND Corporation in 2009 about Israel, which is very, very similar. Sorry, about Iran, which is very, very similar. And yeah, this is a bad situation. And yeah, see you guys tomorrow on the Financial Summit YouTube channel to talk price of Bitcoin. All right. I'm going to end the poll. I am starting to side with Brian Berletic that Israel is just another U.S. proxy. And if Israel is destroyed, but it takes the Middle East with it, the U.S. is more than happy for that trade-off. I don't think Israel is looking out for their best interests. If they were, we would have had a two-state solution a long time ago, and they would have been friendly with their neighbors. But Israel is not looking out for their best interests, and here we are.
Yeah, and it's so weird to me that Netanyahu has been in power there for so long, and I have to wonder how much he really represents the views of most of the people there.
He represents about half. There is another view that Netanyahu is trying to start this war because otherwise he'd be in prison, which is borderline true. I mean, no different than Zelensky. But he hasn't been in total power for that long, but it's been on and off. I mean, look, to me, Israel is a bigger dictatorship than Iran, but that's in my opinion, right? I mean, just because you have elections doesn't mean you're not a dictatorship, right? These are two independent things, right? I mean, if you get to vote for your leader, but you get to vote for one of three people that are all the same and have been pre-chosen, how is that any different than a monarchy, than like a leader for 30 years? In fact, you can make the argument that a leader for 30 years is more stable because they can plan for the next 30 years, where in an election cycle, you can't do that. So, yeah. But anyway, check out the resources in the video. Brian Berletic with the new Atlas, the Duran, Judge Napolitano, military summary, who's covering this region as well now. These are all great sources. And I just added a new one as of today. All right, guys. Good luck. It's a rough world out there. And honestly, I don't see this getting any better because the moment the U.S. Finds a way to get out of the Middle East problem, they're going to start a China problem. Like it's just like, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but we have a dying empire right now in the United States, and they're trying to take the whole world down with them. Using Ukraine to go at Russia, using Israel to go at Iran, and using Taiwan and probably the Philippines to go at China. So I don't see that changing anytime soon. And I stick to the same statement I've been saying for years and years and years. The sooner the United States breaks up into multiple countries, the safer life on this planet will be. Hopefully that breakup is peaceful and not another civil war. But that's all we have looking forward to. I think the world will be a much more peaceful place once the U.S. once there's a breakup of the U.S. into multiple countries. That's my view on the matter. I plan to be in one of the, better states for freedom, but who knows what will happen. All right, bye guys. Wait, I haven't stopped screen share yet, did I? There we go. Thanks, Bernoulli. Thanks for helping me out.
You bet, man.
Bye, guys.